Good evening, and welcome to tonight's Tuesday Talk. My name is Susan Brown, and I'm the Associate Director of Parent and Family Programs. Tonight, we will be talking about navigating costs and financial aid. Joining me tonight is Anne Marie Venezano, and she is Assistant Director of Student Accounts and Services, and Ben Parsons. He is the Assistant Director of Outreach Services and Financial Aid. Anne Marie and Ben will be presenting information on a PowerPoint presentation. Please keep in mind that during the presentation, we will not be taking questions during the presentation. We will take them at the end. If you have a specific question about your student's financial aid or anything on their account, we would be more than happy to answer that in an email to you. So we will provide contact information at the end of the presentation. So after Ben and Anne Marie present, we will begin taking questions. So welcome. Thank you for coming with us tonight, coming here tonight with us and be talking about financial aid and the costs associated. I know parents are looking forward to hearing from you.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to all the parents that are joining us tonight. We are very happy to be going over this very important information for you. So tonight we want to talk a little bit about who is Student Financial Services, especially in financial aid and the student accounts office. We will go over how to apply for financial aid now that your student is enrolled here, and what that process looks like going forward. We'll also talk about the billing cycle here and what you can expect over the next few weeks and months. We will give you some important resources that are available to you here on campus, and then perhaps most importantly, as Susan mentioned, we will leave time at the end for your questions. So, who is Student Financial Services? So, Student Financial Services is composed of a few different offices. For our purposes tonight, though, we'll focus on the financial aid office as well as the student accounts office. So in financial aid, we are the ones that review your financial aid documents and determine families' financial aid eligibility. Each student here has a designated financial aid counselor, regardless of whether the family applies for financial aid. The counselor is determined by the student's last name, and on our site is a counselor lookup tool if you are not sure who your counselor is. If you go to our site and type in your student's Northeastern IAD number, the counselor's name and email pop up, and our counselors are more than happy to talk with you and answer any financial aid questions you might have. In student accounts, they are primarily the ones that handle payments to the university as well as bills, those fun little documents that come out. They are also available to assist students and families in completing international student forms as well as third-party scholarship applications. They are a great resource in helping students and families in managing and navigating their student account and e-bill, and they're also the primary liaison for questions you might have about payment. So whether that's e-check payments, the tuition pay plan, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, or our international wire service Flywire. All right, so applying for financial aid. So as you probably remember, when your student first enrolled here, you filled out the FAFSA and the CSS profile. Well, the good news is you do not have to fill out the CSS profile again. Some of you are probably cheering right now. However, we do require the FAFSA every year. That is a free application for federal student aid. And with the FAFSA, we determine your family's eligibility for federal and state aid every year. The FAFSA for the 2018-19 year is available now. It went live October 1st. However, our priority filing deadline is not until April 1st. But we do recommend that you go online and fill out the FAFSA as soon as you can, because that is just one less thing to worry about. The FAFSA will use your 2016 tax information, and we also recommend using the IRS data retrieval tool, which is basically where the FAFSA database links up with the IRS database and auto-populates all of the relevant tax data. It's faster, it's cleaner, and it's most accurate for you and for us. It's important to submit the FAFSA by our priority filing deadline of April 1st. There are some federal and state funding that is limited, and priority for that funding is given to students that apply by that deadline. Once we receive the FAFSA, we usually begin reviewing those in April and May, and we usually begin packaging returning students in late June, early July even. Your financial aid award will consist of any institutional aid you might receive. If you receive Northeastern grant funding or merit scholarship funding, that is guaranteed for up to 8 in-class semesters, regardless of the number of co-ops that your student attends. So the financial aid will include that institutional aid as well as any federal aid and state aid that your student qualifies for. For students that are on co-op currently, it's very important to make sure that your 2017-18 FAFSA is submitted. A lot of times when students go on co-op, they tend to ignore those notices that we send out. So it's important to make sure that information is submitted. Also, for students going on co-op in 2018-19, you will also need to complete the FAFSA. And once again, every student here is assigned a financial aid counselor. So if you ever have questions about financial aid or the financial aid application process or any component of the financial aid award, please feel free to reach out to your counselor directly. Counselors can create what we call a financial planning worksheet, which basically estimates the student's total cost and aid for the year, making it easier for you to plan for the year's cost. And now I will turn it over to Anna Maria.
Thanks, Ben. So we're going to touch a little bit about the billing cycle and talk about how some of our billings are prepared. The billing statements are generated for each semester. The spring statement should be available shortly through your My Northeastern portal that you'll be seeing. Typically, we like to join you around the holidays, so you'll see us right around Thanksgiving, and the statement will then be due mid-December. If your students will be taking courses over the summer, you'll receive a separate bill a little later on, typically around mid-March. You're going to receive a couple of billing notifications. So once the billing statement is available, your student, as well as the individual who has created a parent portal, will receive an email notification. This will let you know that the statement is ready to be viewed and any kind of important information on that form. Any outstanding balances will reflect on the billing statement is typically due 4 weeks after the initial billing statement goes out. You're going to receive a couple emails after that, just reminder statements. Any kind of update that happens on your statement, any payment that's added will reflect on the statements that come out after that one. Now, to view your billing statement, you have access to your MyNU portal, your My Northeastern portal, which will soon be coming, as the parent or the student. You can also have access to see live billings, the live bill that will come out as well. You can do this by going to your MyNEU and eventually My Northeastern Parent or Student Portal, choosing Services or Self-Service tab, and then you're going to click on Student Account Payment and e-bill information. And by clicking View Account Summary Detail by Term, you're going to see live, up-to-date account information. This will show you everything that's up to date, unlike the billing statement, which is a static document and will only reflect a snapshot in time. So let's talk a little bit about payment and financing options. Any kind of direct payments to the university can be mailed to us directly or to our P.O. box. You can find our address on our website. We also do have the tuition payment plan. It's serviced by Hire One currently. They have short-term and long-term payment plans. So you could do a semester-only plan, or you could work with your financial aid counselor to plan for the whole year expenses. We can also, through the tuition payment plan, you can always adjust it if you realize that you need a little bit more or a little bit less. But that's why we would definitely suggest working with your financial aid counselor. They'd be able to create, as Ben indicated, a financial planning worksheet for you, which would be an estimate of the whole year. This is an interest-free plan. It does have a small enrollment fee. If it's for the term, it's only $35. If it's for the annual plan, it's $60. If you're looking at longer financing options, long-term, you're looking at either supplemental loans or private student loans, or parent loans such as the PLUS loan. There's a lot of this information is on our website, where we have a list, an entire section of our website, just financing options, and there's a list of supplemental loans that other students have used. And you'd be able to find that there, as well as many questions that you should be asking a loan provider. So let's look ahead a bit. As I mentioned, our spring deals should be coming out shortly. We'll be joining you right around the holidays. And then after that, after the new year, we're getting right into 1098T time. So the 1098T will be available electronically through My Northeastern as of January 31st, and will be mailed out that same day for those who choose not to have it electronically. But students can go online to just be able to just view it electronically, and they can print it right from their portal. As Ben mentioned, financial aid application, the deadline for that is April 1st. And you want to try and get that in as soon as possible. And as much as we don't think summer's right around the corner, for us it is. So summer billing will be happening mid-April. So you want to just keep an eye on those notifications you get through your email. If your student gets anything, if your student is planning a co-op, you may not receive a statement for a while. So just make sure you're monitoring your portal. Now we'll talk a little bit quickly touching on the new ship waiver. The new ship waiver is a yearly process. So right now you may not have to do it again your student may not have to do it till September. Make sure you're monitoring your student account on that detail by term section. You'll always be able to see it there. You'd want to remember you do want to do that every year. And we do suggest highly that you stay in touch. We want to make sure that we're there through the entire process for you. For parents, you can keep an eye on your emails. That is and the MyNEU portal. That is our main method of communication with you. So if anything comes up, or if there's any kind of, you realize a payment might be late, send us an email, let us know what happens. We're there through that whole process with you. If there has been any kind of change in your family's financial circumstances, don't hesitate to reach out to our office or your financial aid counselor, and we can discuss appropriate next steps.
All right, so some resources that are available to your family. First of all, as we've mentioned, every student does have a designated financial aid counselor. So please feel free to reach out to your counselor with any questions you might have. The MyNEU, shortly the My Northeastern portal, as well as the parent portal, there are some wonderful resources there. Our website, studentfinance.northeastern.edu, is full of links and resources and advice and contact information. You can also follow our social media channels. We're on Facebook and Twitter, so you can stay up to date with upcoming changes in our office, changes to federal financial aid, as well as some scholarship opportunities that we sometimes post. So that was a lot of information in a very short period of time. This is our office contact details. We will leave this up, but for now we want to take your questions and answer any burning financial aid and student account questions that might keep you up at night.
Okay, so Anna Maria, you had talked about the 1098T form, and then you talked about the new ship waiver.
Yes.
I guess some of our parents are asking what are those forms, if you could explain a little bit more detail about those.
Sure. So the 1098T it's a document that is required for us to create by the IRS that you may want to discuss with your account professional. It will reflect any kind of charges that we assess to your student account. It is not a mandatory document. It's just something that we're forced to create by the IRS. I would suggest speaking to a tax professional. They're the ones that could best assist you with that. As far as the new ship waiver, the new ship stands for the Northeastern University Student Health Plan. By the state of Massachusetts, we do have to provide health insurance to all students who are on campus. They then have to waive it every year. So we do want to remind parents that they do have to, and students, it is the student's responsibility to waive that health insurance if they have comparable insurance.
What are the deadlines for a subsidized and a non-subsidized loan? Are there deadlines for those?
So there is no deadline per se. The only application for the subsidized and unsubsidized direct loans is the FAFSA. Legally, you have until June 30th of the end of the award year to submit the FAFSA. But like we mentioned, definitely get your FAFSA in as soon as possible, preferably before the priority filing deadline of April 1st.
So when you put in your application for the 2018 financial year, what year are you using the data from? You're using 2017's data, like your financial statements, correct?
So,
or 16.
So for the current 2017-18 year, that FAFSA uses the 2015 tax information. The 2018-19 FAFSA is available now, but it does not kick in until next fall, and that FAFSA uses the 2016 tax information.
Okay. Which portion of financial aid will be available for summer study abroad programs?
All right. So summer terms, regardless of whether the student is taking classes here on campus or going abroad, summer terms are counted as half semesters. So students are billed half the tuition, half the fees, half the room and board if they're living here on campus. Accordingly, they can also receive half the per term amount of their institutional aid. So if your student receives a grant for, let's say, $6,000 per term, they would then receive $3,000 for a summer term. On top of that, the student can also receive any remaining federal eligibility that they might have. And what eligibility they might have can vary from year to year. So I recommend reaching out to the counselor directly to get a better idea of what federal eligibility might be there for this coming summer, if that's what you're interested in.
So would that be the same for the Dialogues of Civilization too?
Yes.
The same thing. Okay,
Yes.
so that portion.
Exactly the same.
Okay. Let's see. A little clarification on when my son goes on co-op, what exactly is he billed for? So they said their son is going on co-op for the spring semester. For that year, if he lives at home, what will he be billed for?
Well, congratulations for your student for getting a co-op. It's very exciting for them to start their new co-op. The student, unless they're on campus, they won't be charged anything, which is a really exciting for parents. If they're not going to be on campus, they will not be incurring any housing charges or any fees. There's no tuition charged at that time, so they would have no charges if they're living at home.
Can a student get more scholarships if they've done well throughout the year? I mean, for the academic year, say 2017, can they ask for more money, or how does that work?
So all of our merit scholarship funding is awarded through the admission process, and there is no subsequent review for that. We do have some endowed funding, which are scholarships established through the generosity of donors. There is an endowed scholarship application, which is available through the student's My NEU. It's under the self-service tab. The link says scholarship application, so students can fill that out to be reviewed for any endowed funding, but there's no further merit review for upper class students.
So that goes for all upper class students, third and fourth years.
Right.
Okay. So we have a question. A parent said that they paid for the first semester of their student, but likely will need financing for the spring term. So when would they need to apply for that, and how much time do they have to make sure it applies to that spring bill?
Are they looking for the payment plan? If it's the payment plan, right around the same time the bill comes out, they'll be able to apply for the Hire One payment plan and spread out those payments for the spring term. The information is right on our financial aid website. It's a third-party vendor called Hire One, and you can just go right from there and you enter the amount of the bill.
Does it take long to get those funds? I think she's asking.
So for setting up the monthly payment plan, you sign up for whatever amount you want, and then start making monthly payments. If you're looking at applying for a loan for the spring term, that process is usually pretty fast also. If you're applying for a Parent Plus loan, the application for that is on our site. You would need to print it off, fill it out, and then submit it to our office to be processed by our loan department. If you're applying for a private loan, you apply through the individual lender's sites, and you usually find out almost immediately whether you are approved. Regardless of what payment route you are taking, I recommend looking at and evaluating options very soon after the spring e-bill goes out, because the due date is usually in mid-December, so there's just a couple weeks there.
Okay. This is a great question. Some parents are asking if there's students on co-op and they've already applied for financial aid, does that co-op income show, does it affect their financial aid package?
Good news, no. So if the student is on co-op now, then any co-op income would not even be applicable on the FAFSA until the 2019-20 year. And on the FAFSA, there was a question that asks how much of the student's income was from a cooperative education experience. And by putting in their co-op earnings in that field, those co-op earnings are not counted in the FAFSA calculation. They are still taxed on those earnings just like any other job, but it does not count against them for financial aid.
So here's another scenario on that. So the parent is saying a Northeastern student will be a third-year student in the fall of 2018, and their second child will be starting in the fall of 2018. How does that affect their financial package? Can their students reapply for financial aid? How does that process work?
So I would definitely recommend reaching out to the financial aid counselor in that case. Having two in college at the same time is a serious financial burden, and we definitely recognize that. So definitely reach out to the counselor, and the counselor can review that.
Anna Maria, you had talked about deadlines and payment dates, and we have a question on parents asking, if you don't apply for the extended payment plan, when is the full payment due for the spring? What is the longest time they can have? I know you said, I think, mid-December, but is there any extensions allowed?
Not particularly and not exactly. So you want to pay by the deadline that's on the initial billing statement. So you're going to be it's going to be going out right around Thanksgiving and due typically mid to late December. So you want to make sure to avoid any kind of holes on the account, especially for students doing any kind of I am here process, that they do pay by that deadline. If you are looking for something to extend the payment, I would enroll in the payment plan, and then you can pay monthly.
We have a question about housing, and unfortunately we don't have a housing representative here today. Someone's asking about if their students on co-op for the spring and they're working until June, do they have to leave their room? I would suggest contacting the housing office at housing@neu.edu, and they can speak to you about that situation. If you are on a payment plan, do you have to sign up each semester?
You do. So the payment plan is for that semester or annual plan if you choose it in September. So you'd want to choose every term, especially since students' academic plans change so drastically. They may go on co-op, and then they might change their mind and go and study abroad. We want to give them the flexibility to have that payment plan available. So they do have to enroll each semester, or if they're planning to have an annual plan, join in September to have the 9, 10, or 11-month option.
My son has a merit age, and we took the Pell loan this year. If we are not going to take the Pell loan, do we have to fill out the FAFSA form again for the second year beyond?
So the FAFSA is not required for merit scholarship aid. It is required for federal Stafford loans. So if you do not plan on taking the loan next year, you do not have to fill out the FAFSA. One important thing to know is the FAFSA is required for the Northeastern grant. So if your student received any grant funding, you do need to complete the FAFSA every year, but not for scholarships.
So do you just suggest that students should sit down with their financial aid counselor once a year, every so often? What would be your recommendation for that?
I recommend families come in as often as they feel like they need to. I have had students that come in every 2 weeks just to make sure that nothing is needed. Really, I would much rather have a family come in or call or email just to clarify something rather than assuming incorrect info, and which just creates bigger issues down the road. So yeah, reach out to our office with any questions.
A question regarding the health plan. If the parent has their own health plan, does that meet the university's requirements?
It's pretty specific. Traditionally, students, if they're on their parents, have been able to waive it, but there are specific things that the health plan has to have. I would suggest verifying that information with the NEWSHIP website, which is just www.northeastern.edu/NUSHP, and they have all the list of the criteria that they need.
Well, here's a different question. When preparing for the FAFSA form, is it required to use data retrieval? I recently amended my 2016 tax return and updated it. Info will be available for a while. So I guess they're asking, can they update their financial information through that software program, I'm guessing?
Yeah. So in the past, the data retrieval tool has not been available for families that amended their taxes. Starting this year, that did change. However, the information that transfers over is it's the original tax return details. It's not the amended information. So it might be easiest to just hand enter the numbers and not use the data retrieval. It's not required. We just recommend it for those families that are able to use it.
So we talked about the dialogues and international co-ops. Is the student responsible, like can any of their financial aid cover any of their living costs while they're on a co-op internationally?
Absolutely. So while on co-op, of course, students are not billed tuition, so they do not receive their institutional aid. However, students can still receive federal loans and grants to help cover living expenses. So whether you are co-oping here in Boston and living on campus, whether you're co-oping near home and living with parents, or co-oping abroad, you can take federal aid to help cover those costs.
So we have a parent who's asking, is their daughter is an undergraduate student eligible for graduate student aid under the 5-year program? Is their student eligible for financial aid assistance with the BS master's degree program?
Yes. So financial aid changes for the graduate year. The federal loan limits change, as well as some of the institutional aid. So I would recommend the student come in and talk to the counselor to get more details about the student-specific plan.
So if you didn't apply for financial aid, I think you said this question too, if you didn't apply for financial aid this year, you can still apply to receive it for the following year, correct?
Of course.
And that deadline was?
The priority filing deadline for current students is April 1st.
So it was stated earlier that the Stafford loans are available for dialogues. Is that in addition to the Stafford loans received during the year?
Not necessarily. So there's a yearly limit to the amount of total Stafford loans that a student can receive each year. So if your student has already received that limit over fall and spring, then there's no more eligibility remaining for summer. If prior to the start of the year, your student's enrollment pattern included summer, then the loans were probably packaged over fall, spring, summer. So it's worth checking your student's financial aid award to see what was packaged, and of course, once again, reach out to us, and we can confirm that. So
can you please clarify, if we did not get any financial aid, do we still have to fill out the FAFSA form?
No. You only need to fill out the FAFSA if you intend to apply for federal aid, or if you receive the Northeastern grant. We do require the FAFSA for that.
Okay. Do I need to fill out the CSS profile again?
No, yay, no. No, the CSS profile is only required for first-year students.
So if a first-year student receives their financial aid package, do they typically get that same package the next year?
Yes. So any institutional aid the student received is guaranteed for up to 8 in-class semesters, assuming the student is maintaining satisfactory academic progress. If your student was awarded a merit scholarship, that is a fixed per term amount. If your student was awarded the Northeastern grant, that is a quote fixed amount that actually goes up each year by the same percentage that tuition goes up. So the same proportion of tuition is covered each year by the grant.
Okay, so my son has been given a Northeastern scholarship for all 4 years. Do I need to fill out any paperwork or any of the forms again?
Nope.
Oh, that's good news, I guess, right? A couple questions, and I know you've addressed this, and I think some parents are just coming in late. If a family's circumstances have changed, what is, again, the process for that?
Really, reach out to our office. There is a change in circumstances form that is available on our site. But reach out to our office, reach out to your designated financial aid counselor, and we can go a little more in depth to see what we might need.
If a student receiving grant money, do they need to fill out anything else?
Just the FAFSA. So for grant funding, we do require the FAFSA to be filled out every year.
So can a student request a change for a financial aid counselor? And if so, how does that process work? If they're unhappy with their financial aid counselor or they would like to speak to someone else, what is your recommendation for that?
So we generally do not honor those requests except for extreme circumstances. I recommend reaching out to our office if you have specific concerns. When concerns are brought up, we do like to use them as a training opportunity for our counselors. We hold our counselors to a very high customer service standard, and we definitely want to know when that standard is not being met. So reach out to our office, but as a general rule, we do not honor those counselor change requests.
My student is at risk of losing her merit scholarship. Would she be able to receive any additional financial aid or grant money if that did happen?
Without being able to review your specific situation, I don't know the details. What I can say though is fill out the FAFSA so we can evaluate your federal eligibility. For students that lose their merit aid, they are reviewed for some replacement grant funding, which is based on their financial need in their first year. But fill out the FAFSA if you have not done so already.
Can you talk a little bit about how a student can apply for work study? I know it's part of their package, but can anybody apply for that? How does that process work?
Well, that's typically handled by the Student Employment Office. The students can apply for work study jobs. If they qualify for work study through their financial aid, they can apply for those work study jobs through their MyNEU portal or My Northeastern portal. They could also apply for any jobs that are available. They don't have to be work study, but Student Employment has a variety of jobs for anyone working on campus. So I would suggest that they check out that website as well and take a look at what's available there. They also have, I believe, just an email. It's SEO, Student Employment Office, at northeastern.edu, and they'll be able to offer some more assistance there.
And the application for federal work study is once again the FAFSA. So to even review to see whether a student might qualify for federal work study, the FAFSA does need to be submitted. Federal work study is a need-based fund, so students must have some financial need to qualify for it. So the counselor can review that with you.
We do have time for one or two more questions before we wrap up, but I just want to show you the screen where you can call or email the financial aid office or the student accounts office. So there is a Stafford loan available during co-op. Did we answer that one?
It is, yes.
All righty. Are there any other questions? We'll wait a few minutes. Please keep in mind, I did see some questions that were student-specific. It wasn't that we were ignoring you. We would rather have you contact the office and that we can review your student's information because we don't want to do that out in the presentation. Someone said, I missed this question. Is it required for the student to meet with their financial aid counselor?
It is not required, no. It is highly recommended, though. It is always best to establish a good rapport with all of your campus advisors, from academic to co-op to financial aid. So, no, it's not required, but we do recommend it.
Okay. Well, I don't see that we have any more questions. I do want to thank Anna Maria and Ben for taking the time to be with us here tonight and just talk to us about the process and due dates. Well, I know it's all very nerve-wracking this time of year. Just a couple updates. If we did not get your question, please feel free to email us at either their addresses or parents@northeastern.edu, and I will make sure they receive your message. So thank you for joining us tonight. Again, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to talking with you next time.